Dana, an interesting fight card. It's an old school fight fans card. Got a great main event, great co-main event. Brandon Thatch, Gunnar Nelson, Tim Means, Matt Brown. Loaded fight card. Why make it so deep?
I mean, it worked out that way. I mean, as long as everybody's healthy, every card looks like that. You know what I mean? But we've had such a problem with injuries. I mean, when you got guys falling off 2 weeks before the main event, the fight, it's, you know, it's tough to juggle. But we're deep. We have a deep roster, and you know, we do the best we can to keep it together.
An interesting time for mixed martial arts. You look back 5 years ago, and fighters didn't know when their next fight was coming. Is it coming 8 months? Is it coming a year from now? Now, because of how many shows you guys have to be ready. Chad Mendes gets an opportunity to fight for the UFC title. Is a message being sent that to your fighters? Be in shape, be ready, because an opportunity can come at any time.
I don't think it even needs to be said. I mean, these guys know how many guys are falling off left and right, and if you're looking for an opportunity, you should probably be in shape. And if you look at that whole alpha male camp, I mean, those guys are always in shape and always ready to go. And you know, for Chad Mendes to step up and take this fight on 2 weeks, it's just to show you how much it means. Our gate was stagnant at 6.8 million. We signed Mendes on to fight for the main event. The thing takes off. We have to add bleachers, 7.1 million, broke the record, you know, here in the United States. So people see what a good opponent he is and what a great fight it is, and the fact that he steps up, it's huge for him. Such a huge opportunity for him.
Obviously, all the hardcore fans understand this is a very dangerous matchup for Conor, in the sense that you've got a powerful wrestler, as you mentioned, trained at one of the best camps in the world. But this is a dangerous prospect for the UFC, in the sense that you're in this for business. Business will be good if Conor McGregor wins the championship. There's a whole slew of guys at 145 pounds you could have matched up against Conor, because there's a lot of questions out there. The Dustin Poirier fight, a lot of people said, well, mentally he just couldn't handle what Conor was bringing. Why was this a matchup?
People say the weirdest stuff all the time, like, oh, business-wise, we're in the fight business, man. You can't sit there and go, oh, we shouldn't do this or we shouldn't do that or we shouldn't. You could throw anybody in there and they can lose. We put on the best fights with the best guys available. That's what we've done since the day we bought this company. There is no, oh, let's take a safe bet and you know, like when Conor fought Seaver, Conor wanted to fight Seaver. Conor said, you know, and Conor was at that level at the time. That's, you know, that's where he was ranked. Chad Mendes, people went crazy. Chad Mendes is the #1 ranked guy in the world. The only guy he's ever lost to is Jose Aldo, and the last fight was one of the sickest fights you'll ever see. You know, everybody was going, he's the #1 ranked guy in the world. This was the right fight, and obviously by the success of it, you can see that it was the right decision.
The co-main event, Rory McDonald looking to become the 3rd Canadian to become the UFC welterweight champion. Do you think if he does that, will it change the market in Canada? Because obviously, since George St. Pierre has taken a sabbatical from the sport, it seems that sales have kind of been stagnant. Do you expect if Rory becomes champion, we'll see some renewed interest?
Sales aren't stagnant in Canada. Obviously, when you have a guy like GSP, yeah, it's booming and everybody's talking about it and things like that. It's like, where was Ireland 5 years ago? You know what I mean? There was no Ireland 5 years ago. It wasn't even in the conversation as far as MMA, right? We were just going to Ireland to start building the market there. Then a kid named Conor burst out. This is the reality. When you have a guy that looks like you, talks like you, and comes from where you come from, that whole area rallies around their guy. And that's what happened with GSP. But mixed martial arts is still very much alive in Canada and other parts of the world. And yes, if a guy like Rory wins the title and blows up, and you know, you'll just have more people talking about it, because the guy that looks like you and talks like you and comes from where you come from is now the world champion.
Got to talk about Gilbert Melendez failing his drug test. Going to be out a year. Message being sent to the entire sport. The question I want to ask you is, do you expect to see a mass exodus of guys that can't get off whatever it is that they were on, and they won't be able to compete at the level that we see in the UFC right now?
Yeah, it could happen. I mean, then that's what will happen. I mean, we're gonna rebuild with guys that didn't start using drugs at a young age and that are fighting off their, you know, natural God-given talent. Yeah, it could happen. You know, and it's unfortunate, because you know, it's part of the rebuilding of not only the sport but the athletes. I mean, nobody in professional sports has the drug testing policy that we have. Nobody.
And what do you expect moving forward? Do you expect that we're going to see a better sport? Do you expect that we're going to see a step back before we see some progression?
Well, you're going to see a clean sport is what you're going to see. You're going to see guys that you know for a fact are fighting and competing on their natural God-given talent. But what you don't ever want is to have a scenario where somebody is cheating, the opponent gets hurt, and then you realize after that he was using performance-enhancing drugs. You know, it's the right move for the sport. It's the right move for all sports. I think that, you know, other sports should take our lead, you know. You were just asking me about this being a business, and a business, it definitely is a business, but at the end of the day, you got to remember you're dealing with human beings first, and this is the right thing to do.
Thank you so much for your time. Good luck to you tonight.